Hi, class again. We are going to continue with chapter 2 now, as a continuation to the previous chapter where we introduced the security topic. Today's chapter 2, is about information security. It's a continuation to the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, we talked about why do we need to have a computer and network security, and what is a computer and network security anyway. And we discussed all those. We discussed the two different types of attacks that are possible. We discussed the external attacks. We discussed the internal attacks, and then we moved forward. Now